Let's see. We gotta get one more thing out of this. Up and going for a couple days. Isn't there more content from the beach? No? Drive and chat was the last one? Goodness. I think there's at least one more video from Myrtle Beach this week. On Ewood Style. Let's see. Oh, look at who it is.
This is the life, isn't it? This car makes you want to wave. It also doesn't have the best shocks, so it's going to be a shaky video.
So yeah, if you can't tell, I went and after the stream got up and went and I bought that Chevy Corvair.
Beach cruising.
1963.
My brand new 1963 Chevy Corvair Monza 900 convertible. Living in paradise, boys. Try not to stall. There we go. It's a good day to be a Buffalo.
Freaking bikers, man.
So yeah, we went out to Auto World of Conway today. Saw the man with the hat. He took good care of us. Do a full wrap up tonight on our Twitch. But yeah, this is what the driving streams are gonna look like from now on from Ewood. Check it out on YouTube or Ewood Style, Twitch at JM Farrar, or right here on Instagram. Boys, this is the life. The ocean is literally right over there. I drove around with Kat for a while. We went out to Sonic's.
I'm also lazy. This is the cover for the roof. I didn't snap it back. It has a nice leather cover that covers the whole thing up, but I just threw the roof back and started going.
Did the drive-in service. That was awfully fun. Already had one person asked to take a picture of the car, and actually someone had their wedding photos taken with the car right before we bought it. Literally, the guy was driving it to the place, and he saw a couple getting married, and he let him use the car for the pictures. How cool is that? Nice guy, man in the hat.
If you don't know, he's like a local, one of those dudes who do the commercials, the local commercial guy. It's the Auto World of Conway. He's always wearing this hat. And he showed up in the hat. It was nice. It was funny, too, because I commented he actually, I don't know if he's been getting more sun or eating good, but he looks a lot better than he did in them commercials. Like, healthy looking.
Just pulled past Waikiki Village, my favorite retro hotel down here. Or favorite nice retro hotel. I really like the whatever Polynesian or whatever, but
it's a slum hole.
Oh Lord. Yeah, this
Pretty
is
building
the life now. Living large.
So yeah, this week I went and bought the car. Let's see. Oh my God. Please stop. What is going on? Jesus. Next video. Sorry. Yeah, let's see. So first picture. First thing we did, we drove back from the dealership. Let's get some oldies going. Drove back from the dealership, which is all the way. We had to go to not the classic spot, but the place where they do the new cars. I traded in my 2015 nearly paid off Volkswagen, and we picked up this guy right here, man. Wild. But first thing we did is we went to Sonic's. We pulled into like the little service thing, ordered. I just got a drink, and Kat got a hot dog and a drink. But so much fun, man. It's been you may ask, why would you trade in a brand new car and buy a 60-year-old car? No seatbelts. There's no seatbelts in the back. There's a lap belt in the front. No airbags. No anti-lock brakes. None of that stuff. I can barely see the mirrors. Like, honestly, the mirrors come up to like here on me. I have to lean back to see them because I'm pretty tall. And people were small back then. Here's Kat with the car when we got back from the dealership. She was so excited. It's funny because I thought like, okay, this is me, like, in one of my like weird trips that I wanted to grab this car. So I brought it up to Kat and she's like, oh my god, I love it. I want it so bad, totally. So yeah, I went out, we got it taken care of. This is my temporary plates, but look what we got here, boys. Loyal Order of Water Buffaloes, lodge number 26. It literally came in the mail the same day that I came home with the car, like Kismet. So funny. This is actually, it's a magnet too. I wouldn't put a sticker on my car. And there's the video of me cruising. So fun. Wild. So the car too, on top of everything, the car came with a literal tote. Like, I have all the books over here full of books, spare spark plugs, spare belts, the original radio, original parts. Anything that he replaced and took out was sitting in this thing. I have the original air intake. They put those little the microphone looking cover things, the little foam air intakes on it, so it doesn't have the original air box. But I do. I have it. It's right over here. I have the original hubcaps. It's got those like newer like Warren G spinner looking ones that are pretty cool. Still old looking, but the more like 90s lowrider sort of style. And here we are picking it up. It was so great. And yeah, this is our height difference. If you've never seen me and my fiance stand, I'm 6'3" and she's about 4'11". So bit of a height difference. She actually really likes it too because she sits more like height wise more normally in this car. Like the windows and stuff are at a level where she can look out the window comfortably and doesn't have to like look up because she's smaller. But back then again, most people were smaller. That was joking. That was right. This is me introducing Kat to the boys after one classic car meetup. I imagine most of these guys are older dudes. This is today. Look at that. Isn't she gorgeous? The Corvair. So now, like, if you don't know anything about this specific car, it's insane. Like, it's the weirdest car ever. The engine is in the trunk. It's a rear-wheel drive car with the engine in the trunk, like freaking Porsches and all that stuff. This was built to compete with the Mustang and the Porsche. This was Chevy's answer to the Mustang and Porsche and all that. And in a lot of ways, it actually had it beat. It had a little bit more power. At the time, this 6-cylinder, whatever, I think it's a flat top or something like that. I don't know much about engines, but I know this is like a 2.4 liter. Like, my last car was a 1.8, so like this is a lot stronger than my last car, technically, even though it's only like 100 horses. But I mean, it's just so pretty, isn't it? I mean, like a perfect little toy car. And this is a Triceratops back here. You can't really see. So yeah, that was literally what I've been doing the last 2 days, is driving this thing around, man. I mean, look at her. Isn't she beautiful? Chrome everything. Chrome, 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 chrome. Chrome around the friggin' gas cap. Chrome skirts. Chrome on the windows. Chrome on the windshield wipers. Everything chromed out. It's like Detroit in a freaking one car. And I got the convertible too, because you have to. It's the beach, right? So these are all a bunch of old ads I found actually from '63. This is my car here. So I got like squeeze left, and like she's leaned over and like cuddled up on him. And that's the nice thing is they're bucket seats, but they're really like a bench that's just split. So like yeah, I mean like you can just scoot across and back and forth. Like there's no like barrier or divider between your legs or anything like that. Flat front in the front, plenty of good leg room and everything. Good size. And look at this crazy picture. This was a family car. That was like the idea. Is it was like the Corvette family car. Because yeah, it's like a Corvette. It's essentially the same thing. Just it's a whatever family car. But this is the sedan. The 2-door coupe convertible, just like I have. And then look at the kids standing up in the back seat on the side of a cliff while they're obviously like cruising fast as hell. These ads are nuts, but I love it. And look, even down here, chrome, 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 chrome. Around the license plate, chrome. Back here, chrome. The Corvair logo is chromed. Yeah, put more go in your summer going. See, this is the leather top. I didn't put it in for any of the pictures. I did later on, but I was just having too much fun cruising around, man. Look at this thing. Wild. Going up a friggin' cliff. We're here just riding by the beach. So nice. There we go. Mated to the road like it's married to it. These, like, see, these are the kind of hubcaps I've got there. Thing's so nutty looking. I love it. Go 63 Corvair. It's exciting. Wild, right? It growls for the men, purrs for the girls. And like there's all these ads about like doing like off-roading shit in it. It's like what the hell? Seriously. And this thing, the new Sun and Fun car, Corvair Monza convertible. Nutty, man. So yeah, that has been the last 2 days, like non-stop. So yeah, again, like I mean, why would I do this, right? Why would I buy an old ass car like this when I had a brand new car? Worked perfectly fine, right? And let me tell you something. When I bought this brand new car, it was a 2015 Volkswagen Passat. I got the Wolfsburg edition too. I really like Passats. My previous car was a 2001 Passat, so I just upgraded, got the new one. So a lot of factors went into it. One of them being that, friggin' like, every time Volkswagen puts out a Passat that I like, right? It's a good 15, 20 years or whatever before they make another one that I like. Because they were like made 2015. I'm like, all right, this one looks cool. And then they change how it looks. And now it looks like I don't even know, like a Mercury or something like that. It does not look cool, these new Passats at all. I don't like it. So I'm like, okay, I can wait another 15 years for them to put out a new one, at which point my car is completely worthless, right? Like, I looked it up. It went from like 20 to like 18 to, it was like 10, 11 now, what it's worth. Like, if I wait a few years, it's going to be, 6 and then 3. And then, like, it won't be worth anything on a trade-in. It's just a hunk of junk that is worthless, essentially. So newer cars, they just lose value. Whereas Corvair, older cars, they generally go up, especially once they hit the antique age, or the classic car age, which is 50 years. So this is 58 years old, this car. So there's that. Like, it's, cool to just grab something new and whatever. it's more of an investment, basically, classic car, than buying any new car, new or used. So there's all that. Then you have the fact that I'm looking into it, and I'm like, okay, well, if I want to buy this like dream car that, like, convertible, it's like fancy as hell looking, all this stuff, what's it gonna cost me? What would the difference be? So I run the numbers, and this is saving us a lot of money. I'm paying almost half of what I was paying on my Volkswagen. Granted, it was almost paid off, but it didn't add much to the down payment, honestly. I think I got like $5,000 or $6,000 basically for it in trade-in value. And it was in decent shape and everything, but newer cars, they have all kinds of problems. Electrical problems, computer problems, all kinds of stuff. Little things, that add up. So not only am I paying, way less for payments, it's like $200 a month paying for this new car. On top of that, I call my insurance up. Even he is like, what the hell? He's like, okay, so you're trading in your 2015 Volkswagen, which is like, a very safe car. Side curtain airbags, everything you could possibly need to keep you safe. And he's like, and what's the new car? It's a 1963 something, and it doesn't have seat belts, it doesn't have airbags, it doesn't have any of that stuff. I'm like, no, sir. And he's like, there haven't been any modifications where they've added anti-lock brakes or anything? I'm like, no, sir. And he's like, okay. And he sounded real concerned, like, oh man, I'm gonna break this kid's bank account. So he runs the numbers, and he's like, so after this, it's gonna be, it's like half. It knocked my car insurance down to like $50 a month. I'm literally paying like about half of what I was paying in car insurance as well. All for this older car, which, okay, it has, no real safety restraints. It has no airbags. It has no anti-lock brakes. It doesn't have any of those things. There was a book written by Ralph Nader about this car that's called Unsafe at Any Speed, and it's literally about how the Chevy Corvair was, too dangerous to drive. How dangerous it was. So even on top of all that, it's still a half price for insurance. It's insane. I asked him, I was like, bro, you work for the insurance company. Like, even you have to admit that's crazy. He's like, no, yeah, that's nuts. It should not be that way. But so what he was telling me is that basically it's that all that safety equipment that you get in your car, that's what costs so much money to insure, because it makes the car worth more. So if you take that stuff away, then you're insuring less stuff, I guess. But that's why it turns out that way. So that's what they don't want you to know, man. Old cars, you get a huge, huge value on stuff like that. Like, I couldn't believe it. I'm literally driving like what your grandpa dreamed of retiring and buying one day to like cruise around in, and it's costing me nothing. I mean, that's like the price of buying like a cheap old like Honda or something like that. I was absolutely flabbergasted. Let's see if I can find. There's some crazy ass videos of this thing, man. Daring the Darien. Corvairs in a South American jungle. And see, everybody, apparently these cars have a big following, and like everybody uses that whole like unsafe at any speed is like a big thing.
By the Pan American Highway. Someday. In the way right now stands the world's worst roadblock on the world's greatest highway. This is the story of what separates two continents.
I can get them headphones.
Corvair has already completed a record-setting expedition from Chicago to Panama. Now a caravan of Corvairs decides to go all the way to South America. No passenger car has ever made this trip where there is no road, only hundreds of devastating obstacles that keep the two continents apart. 3 rugged Chevrolet supply trucks complete the caravan. These 4-wheel drive workhorses prove ideal for slugging through the jungle with the heavy supplies and native helpers. In Panama, not far from the Great Canal, the road leads to the bank of a river called the Bayano. Here, the Pan American Highway ends, and here begins the Darien Gap. Officials of the Darien Subcommittee wish the expedition luck. Luck they know is needed. Luck because ahead lies the impassable jungle between North and South America, one of the least explored jungles in the world today. The Darien, with thousands of square miles of tropical forest, where the rainfall is among the world's heaviest, is beautiful and mysterious. But it is also forbidding and dangerous. It is called impassable because it is filled with rugged hills, valleys, and mountains, tricky uncharted rivers, and an almost endless succession of treacherous ravines and gullies. And it is all covered by dense undergrowth, which virtually shuts out the light and makes the jungle a sticky, damp, sweltering hot place. Here is the challenge.
See, and it's just like Myrtle Beach. So
The
I know.
Corvairs head for the edge of the jungle.
Just gonna drive through a river. No big deal. And seriously, sometimes when it rains down here, that's how
Don't
it
blame
looks.
Davlin for getting excited. An automobile is news in this part of the world. The high location of fan, air intake, and electrical system, along with perfectly tight sealing, lets Corvair drive through water as no ordinary car can.
See?
The hacking
not
of a
be doing
trail
this.
begins. But in the unskilled hands of these eager beavers, the sharp machetes are more a threat to one another than to the jungle shrubbery. The Panamanian natives are experts with the wicked jungle knives. But even so, it's back-breaking day after day work to cut a pathway through the tangled undergrowth. To young Americans like these, the Darien Gap is an adventurous challenge. Yet, the expedition leader knows of the dangers ahead. So plans and strategy are gone over again and again. Now starts the ordeal. Plunging over savage, racking ruts and bumps on a narrow, twisting, hand-carved trail that slams up and down as often as it winds left or right.
This thing's fucking unstoppable.
A test of torture for the cars and trucks. There's constant work for everyone. To cross the deeper gullies, ground must be leveled, trees cut, and logs moved laboriously into place to form crude bridges. Altogether, the caravan builds and crosses over 180 such bridges. Every Corvair design...
These cars are made to last. My Volkswagen had 87,000 miles on it. This Corvair I just bought had 40,000 miles. It's less than half of what I had on my old car. Anyhow, and it's almost 60 years old. On top of that, it was kept by a member of the local car club, the classic car club. He, you know, again, all the paperwork, everything you could ever use for it, worked on it incessantly, as you can tell. And like it's the kind of thing you can pass down to your kids. You know what I mean? It'll be around. That Volkswagen will be in a scrapyard in 10 years, guaranteed. Because it'll take another 50 years before it's worth anything.
Design feature is vital to getting through
And
the
it won't really
Darien.
be, because it wasn't built well to begin with. I mean, Volkswagens are great, but it's not like a solid steel car that was made to run.
The short wheelbase is just right for handling on the tricky trail.
You can't just drive it through the jungle.
The precise weight distribution makes the car easy to steer, even when heavily loaded. The rugged, unitized body absorbs the pounding. In response to suddenly changing power demands, the Corvair's rugged engine transaxle combination is unbeatable. The aluminum air-cooled rear engine supplies instantly available power.
Can't stop that thing.
The transaxle puts all the power into a positive grip that lets the tires bite into the slippery, uneven floor of the jungle. The steeper the hill, the greater the payoff in Corvair's amazing traction. The steep hills get steeper, but the Corvairs and Chevrolet trucks dig in, turn on the power, and keep going. River after river is crossed, 173 of them in all, many that do not appear on any maps. Such findings are reported to the Darien Subcommittee, the group which hopes to eventually put a road through the Darien Gap. And the expedition is cited for its important contribution to the progress of the Pan American Highway.
Let's see, with global warming, this is going to be useful.
Occasionally, the caravan
rains a lot
encounters
here.
Indians, the only humans who live in the jungle.
Look, even they like the Corvair.
Watch what
Damn, bro,
happens
nice
as the
whip.
bridge builders get overconfident. Well, back to the old drawing board. Although it seems impossible, the midday sun is shining brightly overhead, yet the jungle remains gloomy and almost as dark as night. That's one reason why the caravan is battle-scarred. In the deceptive light, a driver misjudges the width of the trail and is trapped in a wedge of trees. No one can win every battle with the jungle. It's through the mud as far as possible. Then a power winch.
I'm just going to tow this thing.
It's hard to believe that any car can keep its footing on hills so steep they seem almost straight down. On long slopes like this, progress is slow and tiresome, hard on men and cars, and it's often dangerous. Watch what happens when a winch cable snaps under the strain. No one is injured.
Yeah, luckily the engine's in the trunk, so...
But repairs to the cars and trucks must be made on the spot. While some are working, others use the precious time off for getting spruced up.
Look at this. This dude, who I'm pretty sure is Joe Friday.
Corvair!
This is even a year older than mine. Look at this thing. Crazy. It's super easy to fix.
Corvair 462. Tackles.
Basically, if anything's gonna happen, it's gonna throw a belt, and you can just like put another one on there. I have 2 more belts in the car right now. Like, There's, anytime you see a car broke down on the side of the road in a movie, there's all steam coming out of the front. There's always something wrong with the cooling system or the radiator, or it overheats or something like that. And you don't have any of these problems with this car. It's air cooled. It's like the Beetle or the Bus, and those things will run forever as long as you take care of them, change the oil, stuff like that.
The grasping mud and muck of Florida's treacherous Withlacoochee swampland. Watch as the 62 Corvair claws a trail through this glue-like ooze.
Terrible buzzing sound.
Now Corvair cuts through the water wasteland and its hidden sinkhole.
Right,
With its
let's
engine
turn
in the
this-
rear, Corvair...
That's just too bad. A weird sound. Now look at this. Mud, water. It doesn't matter. And again, isn't that Joe Friday? He really looked like Joe Friday. Just the facts, man. But I mean, Jesus. Look at this car. I don't think my Volkswagen could do this. God, I can still hear the goddamn motorcycles now inside. At night. It's 12 o'clock. Let's see. Look at this thing. It's just bonkers. So it's like not just a classic car, it's like the weirdest classic car you can possibly get. And definitely one of the coolest. Like it just it looks so neat. I also took it out today for the first time in in the rain. And wow, was that actually really enjoyable. The forced air cooling system, it was just like really comfortable, like the nice cool air coming in. It's just made for cruising on the beach, man.
There's a car down there that can make you feel you're way up here. Magic, sort of.
Look at that, racing on the beach.
Corvair magic. The magic that happens when you take the wheel of a 63 Corvair Monza sedan.
Or the coupe. Coupe's a little sportier.
Your local Chevrolet dealer is the man to see for your sample of Corvair magic.
So crazy. On the beach. Bonkers, man. It has been nuts. Literally all I've been doing is like driving around town. Like any chance, like, oh, I'll go to the grocery store. Yeah, sure, I'll be right back. It's been so fun. And again, how is this? I'm saving money doing this, Like, I don't understand it at all. Now, granted, like, I'm probably not going to be doing any more road trips to New York. It's probably not going to happen. But I pretty much decided I was over with that the last trip. It was fun. I had a great time with Kat. She's excellent to hang out with. I had no problem with any of that. It was actually really great. But just sitting there and watching everything zoom by you know what I mean? Like, if anything, the only problem I ever had driving that car is like I would just tune out, man. It's like I didn't have to pay any attention at all, and I would be like, oh, what am I doing? Pay attention to the road. And it's like you don't have that problem with these cars. Like you feel driving it. I found all these old commercials. I had to check them out.
If you're like most people who are interested in the Corvair, you want to know what it can do in action. Years ago, in its early development stages, Chevrolet engineers began testing disguised Corvairs, began making the Corvair a road car. compact car with power, traction, and ruggedness. Just watch how the Corvair stays under control in this situation. Talk about stamina and reliability. The Corvair actually plowed along like this for over 20 miles. Watch this sample of how the Corvair can stop.
This freaking thing.
Yes, sir, the Corvair's as good as she looks. Not much doubt about it, is there, that this is the car that gives you more of what you're looking for in a compact car. Compact car. I'm sure the Corvair has more, and the Corvair is ready and able to prove it.
This is the kind of thing that I was talking about. You can roll them if you try pretty hard. You have to try pretty hard, though, trust me. See, this was for Chevy salesmen for telling people why it's better than a Mustang.
In this corner, the all-new Corvair for 1965. And in this corner, the Falcon Mustang. These two contestants in the personal car market are squaring off for 1965 sales competition. You will help shape the results, and the results will help shape your 1965 sales record. So let's look at what these contenders have to offer car buyers. First, styling. Corvair for 65 has a fresh, sporty new style with clean, classic lines. Mustang retains its 1964 styling. Despite Mustang's newly introduced 2+2 fastback model, it still can't match the 1965 Corvair lineup of 3 series and 7 models. Mustang does not have a 4-door model, so you have 4 more models to offer than the Mustang. Corvair styling superiority also extends to the interior. The instrument panels typify Corvair and Mustang differences. Corvair has a deeply hooded sports car type instrument cluster that is dramatically good looking. But on the Mustang, notice how the sharp-edged hood of the instrument panel sticks up. Mustang does not have a glove box key lock or a map pocket as standard equipment. Corvair does. Corvair has more comfortable seating. Up front, Corvair has more headroom, shoulder room, and hip room. Besides, Corvair has a flat floor for more foot room. Mustang.
When they say flat floor, it means instead of like having a bend in the front where the engine goes, it's just like a big empty box. Like you got plenty of space for feet and stuff.
Mustang has a high driveline tunnel. In the rear, Mustang's 2+2 is cramped and its skimpy seats are uncomfortable. Corvair is roomier with full cushioned seats and lots of legroom. Another Corvair plus and Mustang drawback is the poor angle of the rear window and the 2+2.
I hate those fastbacks. You'll just sit in the back like that. I've been in them.
+2 that can cut
Not
down
comfortable.
driver visibility.
Like you really can't get anybody in there.
There's plenty of rear visibility with Corvair. Here are other Corvair pluses over Mustang. Corvair's exterior finish is Magic Mirror acrylic lacquer. Mustang has enamel finish. Magic Mirror holds its gloss longer, is less expensive to spot repair, and resists fading and chalking. And each Corvair is packed with extra value features such as keyless front door locking and backup lights, standard on Corsas and Monzas. Mustang doors must be locked.
My older model doesn't have this, but I actually like using the key because I can't lock myself out of my car.
From the outside with the key, while backup lights cost extra.
Mine does have extra backup lights.
Corvair has front fender skirts, flush and dry rocker panels, double wall cowl. The Mustang hasn't. Now let's look at performance using Corvair's exclusive turbocharged engine. In
I don't have the turbo either.
acceleration tests from 40 to 60
You can get it. It's only like, I think, $800, $700-800. Not too bad.
miles per hour, the Corvair is a match for the Mustang.
I got
That's
plenty of
comparing
power,
the 180 horsepower engine of the Corsa with the 200 horsepower engine of the Mustang. The Corsa also matches the Mustang in acceleration runs from 0 to 60 and in quarter-mile runs from a standing start. Corvair engines have it in go power and in economy too. Point up the Corvair engine economies from air cooling, resulting in the elimination of a costly water cooling system. And this Corsa Sport Coupe with 180 horsepower engine has 859 pounds on the front wheels and 1,644 pounds on the rear for
The Corvairs are really light.
better traction, easier steering. This Mustang with a 200 horsepower engine has almost 1,600 pounds on the front wheels and over 1,200 pounds on the rear for just the opposite effect on traction and steering. Remind your Mustang-minded prospects that power steering and power brakes are not required on the Corvair. These extra options are advisable on the Mustang. As for brakes, Corvair has bonded brake linings, whereas the Mustang has riveted linings. In addition, the Corvair has more brake lining area. Result, Corvair has longer wearing brakes. Additional proof of Corvair's braking superiority is demonstrated in stopping tests. The Corvair has heads-up stops, making for safer driving. Mustang tends to nosedive. Riding comfort also comes from Corvair's four-wheel independent suspension with four coil
Very
springs.
cozy ride.
This means that each wheel absorbs road bumps and jolts on its own, resulting in smooth riding. In contrast to Corvair, the Mustang uses a rigid rear axle and multi-leaf rear springs. The penalties for Mustang are a stiffer ride, noisy springs, possibility of broken springs. Corvair's suspension does not have to overwork itself to keep jolts and jars from the body, but the Mustang's loose suspension overworks and fails to keep the body firm and steady. Much of Corvair's advantage over Mustang comes from Corvair's rear engine design. For example, on curves, the Corvair hangs on tight because of the extra weight on the rear wheels. The rear of the Mustang, when in the same curve and at the same speed, slides out at a furious rate because of the lightly loaded rear wheels. Notice the excessive body lean. Indications are that the Mustang might be a toughie to handle on wet and icy roads as well as bumpy roads. Corvair's unique rear engine design with Unipack, more equal weight distribution, outstanding suspension, and other unusual features have contributed to an image of advanced engineering, an image the car-buying public is aware of, and an image you can use in pointing out these features to prospects. But what about cost? Let your prospect consider these comparably equipped cars. The Mustang costs close to $300 more, and Corvair has features you can't buy for
any amount. That's right. Let's see. Thrill Driver.
Films of the Corvair as it's put through some fantastic events by champion thrill drivers.
Got the Obama effect on.
These men knew the Corvair had 9 years of planning and development behind it, but they wanted to check the stability, handling, and safety of a rear-engine compact car for themselves. Steering and balance. Here's precision for you. The Corvair answers a driver's touch like a cow pony answers the reins. The drivers talk over rear-engine balance with an engineer. Chevrolet knows this is where the engine belongs in a compact car. Now a payoff test that proves this beyond a doubt. How's this for handling? The car goes clear over on its side, rights itself, and comes back for more. It has to have perfect stability to do this. called the high jump. They set up for a 65-foot leap of 34 miles per hour. Take
Jesus.
real driving skill for this and absolute confidence in the car.
All right. Let's see.
The takeoff. Hold it. Look at that. Perfect balance, perfectly level. And away the Corvair goes. Now, how can there be any question about handling and stability with this car? You've seen why thrill drivers select Corvair for their shows. Now see, and by all means drive, the best performing, best handling compact car on the road today. Corvair by Chevrolet. At your Chevy dealers now.
Crazy. All right. Well, so yeah, that has been the majority of my time is just playing with my new toy. And then tomorrow's Friday, so that's my busy day when I'm out most days. So who knows what I'm gonna get into? But I guarantee I'm just gonna be driving around doing something in this car. So much fun. I really enjoy it. So yeah, I mean, besides the fact that there's a good chunk of like my entertainment budget is basically this now, you know what I mean? It's like I don't need to like go do something as much as I can just like cruise around. There's like car meets, all kinds of stuff I can go and do. Actually, I think the 7th, there's something at Broadway at the Beach. There's something the 30th. There's like a trunk or treat thing for the classic cars. There's like a classic car club meets, all that stuff, man. So, yeah, I mean, a good chunk of the money that I'm saving is still even saving me more money because that's time I would have probably spent somewhere spending money. Yeah, nutty. I'm so lucky. It's been so much fun. She keeps joking, saying it's a birthday present for me. My birthday's in October, so wild. So much fun. So yeah, I mean, easy decision, right? I mean, I'm only gonna be going to the beach and stuff anyhow. I only ever go to dinner. I'm not a commuter. I don't need, a commuter vehicle. It's a recreation vehicle. I drive it for fun. I go places for fun.